Hello, we're back after that little bit of challenge that we faced. But like I was telling Dr. Annette, that, we are feisty, fearless. And these kind of little challenges don't upset us at all. So we were talking with this wonderful woman, grounded, and who loves to giggle with her friends and, spend time with nature also. I forgot to add that, when I was introducing her. So I thought, let me just add on that. And then let's talk about your childhood. So you were telling us that you stayed in a place and you grew up in York. It's a countryside, beautiful place, but it was quite challenging for you because you wanted your pocket money. So you were at that part. So after that, what?
Can you hear me okay now, Alka? Yeah?
Yes, I can hear you very well, but I don't know whether you can hear me proper.
I can hear you. It's not as loud as it was, but I can hear you. But I can
Okay.
continue. It was all about really, as a child, wanting to make things better, but I didn't know how. I didn't know how I could do that. And like most children, you went to school, you want your pocket money, you had a paper round, you did all those kind of things. So I dreamt quite a lot as a child, but I didn't realize when I was dreaming as a child that the power of that potential when I grew up as an adult and, trained in coaching and empowered other women, that part of that dreaming is all part of what makes you who you are and what it helps you to visualize the goals and the aspirations that you have. So I had lots of little friends. I used to do naughty things. I used to knock on doors and run away. I did all
Oh,
the kind of
wow.
things that children did. I was very naughty.
Oh, wow. But that's what childhood is all about. And one needs to be a little naughty at times. I think being naughty also shows a lot of it's a wonderful display of creativity at times, as long as you don't hurt someone, as long as you don't spoil something which is very important for someone else, as long as that's not done, there's no harm in doing a little bit of that naughty
Little bit of
behavior off and on.
childhood, yeah. And I mean, I never did anything to harm anybody. I was a big animal
That's it.
lover.
That's wonderful.
Oh, I've always been an animal lover, and I would rescue anything that I could bring into the house. And my mother was always, "Oh, Emma, we've nowhere to put it." There was all that kind of stuff going on. But I did childlike things like I would make stories up. I'd hide under the table and I'd put the tablecloth over and I'd pretend I was in a magical place. So all those little things that we forget about when we're adults that we can actually create.
I love this magical part that you said. And since you talked about magic, was there any particular fairy tale that really fascinated you? Because there's a lot of magic in fairy tales. You're mentioning fairy tale, magic. So does magic bring to mind some favorite story tale, fairy tale, or some favorite character from some book that you read when you were younger?
I always used to like the stories, the children's stories. So like Hans Christian Andersen and things like
Ah,
um oh, there was lots of little childy things on the TV, little story things that used to be on every week, and it like storybook. And somebody would sit and tell you a story, and I'd imagine myself in that story as the character. I had no idea I was doing what I was doing and why I was doing it at the time, but I just loved anything where there was something good, where something good came out of it. And when the fairy used to come down and just tap with a wand, and then everything changed and everything was lovely again. I loved Hansel and Gretel and things like
that's my
that.
favorite too, Hansel and
Oh
Gretel.
yeah, loved that one. Loved it. Loved
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, I can imagine because a person who can feel, who's humane, who has that empathetic spirit which you have in abundance. I think it happens, and the signs can be seen only during childhood a lot, and as you grow up you start understanding what you actually want to be doing. So when was it that it struck you that you have this particular purpose in life and you would like to transform lives and you would like to do this? I know that the path that you chose was not easy. It's never easy for coaches, believe me. I can say the same for myself. But what was that trigger point that made you believe that yes, this is my purpose in life and I'm going to go after it, like as if there was no tomorrow?
Well, there's one big defining thing that happened. I became really ill with depression and anxiety, and I was in a very dark place, and I was very suicidal.
Oh my
Um,
God.
and that was a turning point for me. But when I look back now, I realized that everything I did, it was always around trying to encourage somebody to do something. So just, if I was working in a job or something and somebody'd say how unhappy they were, I'd say, well, there must be something you can do about it. There must be something else in life, something better waiting for you. I hadn't realized what I was doing was naturally coaching. But until that point, when I became ill myself, and I turned to Zen Buddhism, and that was the thing that really changed my life around, the whole ethos of living in the moment, not getting caught in the past, in the future. And I did a lot of training, I did a lot of community work. And it was then that somebody heard about the work that I did and asked me if I would go and work in a women's prison, coaching. And I took the opportunity, I embraced it with both hands. And I was there for 2 years working inside this prison, coaching women who sometimes through no fault of their own had ended up in a dark place, just like I had. I
Mm,
hadn't taken the twist of fate that they'd taken. But that was the thing that really led me. And I believed at that time that I was resonating with these women in so many ways because of my own adversities. So the mental health, my first marriage was at a very young age, which was domestic violence, all the things that I'd overcome myself. I felt I was able to help other women with. And that really started me on the path. And that was over 20 years ago now. But I still fondly look back at that. And I still have cards and letters from women that I've worked with who I know I touched and changed their life. And that will never leave, will it? It'll always be in my heart
that's wonderful.
because it's there within me, isn't it? And I will do what I do until the day I don't exist, basically. That
That's
sounds heavy,
powerful.
but I don't mean it like that.
That surely is gritty, because not many people would take that kind of an opportunity immediately. They would think about it. You said that you worked with women in prison, and I think it must have been hard. And at times it could have been even horrifying, when you heard the kind of tales, or probably the woman could have been, very they're full of angst. So when one is full of angst, you just want to hit at whoever comes in front of you. So it must have been quite an experience. Any harrowing experience over there?
It was very challenging because the women themselves were in a place where they didn't want to be. And in many cases, some of them were innocent. There was no doubt about it. And there was just things that had happened that had led them to where they were.
The
They got mixed up with,
circumstances. The
yeah, the
circumstance. Yeah.
circumstances. They got mixed up with the wrong man, and the
Hmm.
man might have been doing drugs or something. He was the drug
Oh,
dealer, and she would get involved in it. They'd put the
yeah.
money in her bank account and all
Hmm.
sorts of silly little things that you might not even
Right.
think there's anything wrong with, but they hadn't actually thought it
Thought
through and
about it.
realized what was going on.
Hmm.
Um, I've even worked with women who've murdered because they've been in a domestic violent relationship. So yeah, it's really, you have to stand back from that and have no judgment. And I learned that very quickly. It's about not having judgment because I've not been in their shoes. I don't know what difficulties they've been through. I know from my own experience with domestic violence how you could be pushed to that limit and snap and do something. So it's always very easy, isn't it, to judge somebody else until you've been in
Oh,
their shoes,
yes, you're right. Very easy.
always.
Mm.
But some of the stories, my book was actually based on a woman in prison because
Mm.
she'd been a young age, she'd been turned to prostitution just to
Mm.
feed her family. So there were so many different characters and different ages and everything. You could see yourself in every one of these women that there for the grace of God go I only have to turn the wrong corner and you could end up in the same place. So that it was a huge grounding for my coaching practice. If anything's going to ground you, it's working with people like who have been so So life has, they feel it, perceive it, that life has really been harsh with them. And they have got a lot of bitterness, a lot of anger. But when you actually stand back and show them that you are there not to judge them and you're just there to listen, that sometimes that's enough to get the rapport going between you, and they learn to trust you because you are not part of that system. I wasn't working in the prison service, so as part of that, they saw me as somebody who they could trust and who they had faith in to be
They
able
could
to
open
share.
up and approach.
Yes,
Yeah, you're very
yes.
approachable because that's the way you are. And I feel, I feel this line is very true, in healing others, you heal yourself. So
Yes.
if one has been through a bad experience in life, because it happens with the best of us, it happens with the best of us. But you know what? If we just let it go and use our experience to help others, to heal
Mm,
others, to bring sunshine in other people's lives, it really makes a lot of brings about a lot of transformation, and then you understand truly what your purpose in life is. But
mm,
it's not till you've actually had an experience that makes you think. And I think this was an experience that really made you think. You've told me that you had those very difficult experiences in relationships, and otherwise also, you were in a very sad place, in a gloomy place, in a dark place. But look at you, you came out of it, you healed yourself, you healed others. In healing others, you healed yourself, and I think this is something which is very powerful. And that is why feisty, fearless women, no matter the difficulties, they surmount the challenges and keep on taking those strides forward. So, if
mm.
I were to ask you, Dr. Annette, what do you feel are the barriers, the real barriers that come in the way of women actually, truly expressing their creativity, uh, their voice, that their voice is given freedom, their voice is given the wings to, fly, to speak well, that spontaneity is there. And not only that, they are given the freedom to say things the way they want to call a spade a spade. There are still barriers. And what do you think are those barriers? And what can we people who are working for women do about that?
So I'm going to answer that back to front. So what we
Okay.
can do as women is what we're doing now, is we are here sharing, and this goes globally. We're in
Absolutely.
two different cultures, two different parts of the world, and we are here and we can share tips and techniques. We can share our
Absolutely.
stories.
That's why we have the show.
Exactly. And that is why women all over will hear this and they'll see that there is possibility.
Absolutely.
The answer to the other part of the question is society, no matter which country we live in. I live in a very free country, but there is still perceptions about women and what their place is. And if women are in a relationship that's compromising, whether that be with a partner and they're not encouraged, that's a difficult thing. They have to either decide they're going to stand up and find their voice and seek the support to do that through there's so many mediums here. I don't mean spiritual mediums. There's so many mediums of ways they can find that support through coaching, through groups, through different charities. So there's that side of it, and there's themselves, that they don't believe they're good enough, that they have to have. I mean, I left school with no qualifications. I absolutely detested school with a passion because I couldn't understand maths. I just
Oh
couldn't
my,
get my head around.
another
Yeah,
coincidence. I could not understand maths for my life.
no, right. Who invented maths? And I'm
Oh,
sure at some
exactly.
point in my life it's going to manifest and I'm going to have to learn how to do it. And I do, but it's still not my top chosen subject.
Yeah,
I would rather
exactly.
speak to somebody all day than I would do maths. But there's that thing about ourselves, isn't there? Do we believe that we're good enough to do it? Do we have to have um do we have to have every degree under the sun in order to achieve what we want to do? It's not always the case. It's about seeking out the right help, seeking out the right support, believing somewhere in there, like I did when I left my first husband after one more black eye. believing that in here, that grit that you're talking about is in there and it's just waiting to come out. And if you step forward once and keep walking one step at a time, you'll find that you start to come through the other side. Scary, I know, but those steps are so essential to get you where you need to be.
Wow, bravo. Well said. Very inspirational. And I'm sure that people who have joined us, women who have joined us, anyone for that matter who has joined us live, thank you so much for joining. And please do drop in the comments below from which country have you joined us and what do you feel about what Dr. Aneth said. And if you watch the live later on, whenever you watch it, please do make a comment and tell us what you felt and do mention your country. That would be wonderful. Wow, that was so wonderful, actually, and you said it all while answering those two, three questions, about women and how we should be actually dealing. And the fact how we can do something about empowering our tribe is by sharing tips, is by talking, because sometimes words have so much energy, words have so much power that when you listen to someone saying something, you realize that you can also do it. And that sort of is a trigger. And that trigger ignites you to take that first step and do something for yourself and eventually your life purpose. So very well said. And that tells and that talks a lot about the fact that you're doing a lot of podcasts, and it's also a women's radio station. So I'm sure you're talking about all these topics, and you've had the most wonderful of personalities on the show as well. Now, I know that you enjoy radio as well. You enjoy talking and you love connecting with people because that's you. But let's know a little bit more about the lighter side. So we do know that as a child you were naughty, you used to, just knock at doors and run away, but not harm anyone per se. But you used to do all that. Well, tell us one thing. If you were given a chance, I mean, if you had all the time in the world, what would you really enjoy doing? I mean, I know you do a lot of things and you enjoy them, but something that you want to do for yourself only, what would that thing be?
So something for myself, do you mean personally or career-wise, or that's in my heart?
Maybe you could talk about all three. That's good.
Okay. So personally, I would like to open a retreat somewhere for people who've been through mental health and difficulties, and people like us would actually be able to help them on their journey and show them that there's more than one way to get there. And then I'd like a nice pamper session. I love those. I love a nice massage. And my visions and my I love a massage, and you could stand there all day plaiting my hair and doing all sorts with it, and I would just sit there and let you do it. I just love that. And my feet, massaging my feet. This
Uh,
isn't very romantic, Alka, I know, but these are the bare facts of the things I like. And I like nothing better than curling up with a cup of green tea, reading a book or watching something on TV. But my favorite thing, one of the things I really aspire to, is a TV program, a chat show of some sort.
okay.
Definitely. That's a
Wow.
huge aspiration.
Ah, love it. And do you like what about music? I think music, they say, is something that really suits one and gets you, rocking and rolling. So does it have that kind of an impact on you as well?
Yeah, it does. I've got a wide taste in music, and I was a bit of a disco diva in the 80s.
Oh.
Yes, yes, yes. And I loved nothing more than dancing. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, those were my big nights. Be out there at I don't know, nightclub, discotheque, whatever they want to call it now. And I would just
They
dance
call
all
it the
night.
same. They call it the same.
They still call it, well, I don't know. But yeah, I love so all sorts of music. I like current music. Don't ask me always the name of the bands, but if I'm in the car driving and I put, music
There
on, I'm
was
like,
one very
right, who's that?
famous song, Disco, because you mentioned disco. So it was D, desirable, I, irresistible, S, super sexy, S,
DISCO.
CEO.
Yeah,
I
that
got it.
one.
I got
Yes,
you dancing.
yes. I remember that very well.
Oh, yes. I love music and I love dancing. But what kind of dance do you really enjoy doing?
Do you know, I just kind of go with the music, with the rhythm of it, and I have my own little thing that I do, and I just go off into this kind of thing. Off come the shoes, bare feet. Yeah, that's the kind of thing I like to do. My husband hates it. He hates dancing. He's got like 4 feet when we start dancing,
Oh,
so I have to do it on my own most of the time. But when you're all girls together, you're all there, aren't you, doing your thing, and you end up creating these dances and you're moving all over. Yeah, so and it's such a good energy, energizing, isn't it?
oh
Just
yes, oh
fabulous.
yes. And it's also unblocks your chakras. If they're stuck somewhere, or if
Yes.
you are, just depressed or just generally feeling out of place, fuzzy vision, just go out there and let yourself loose and start dancing and kicking and stomping your feet. And I think everything becomes okay. That's something which I also suggest a lot. And I think you do it too. So that's wonderful. But are there any females, that come to your mind when we think about feisty, fearless women? I mean, who are the people whom you really place on a pedestal and you think are really doing wonderful?
Do you know, there's probably, if you'd have asked me this before, I could have written a list out of people. I mean, before she passed away, the Queen of England was a good example of a woman who had learned to keep composed throughout any
Oh
adversities
yes,
in
oh
her
yes,
life. That she definitely did.
yes,
Michelle
absolutely.
Obama, I think she's doing great work out there. Um, Before she passed away as well. Princess Diana, she was
Oh
amazing.
wow,
She was
I adored her. Oh
compassion, love.
yes,
One of the things I aspired to be, definitely. You could see that she had so many qualities,
oh
so many
yes.
qualities. The kind of work you do, that kind of thing. There are so many women out there doing so much great work.
I know, I
In
know.
some ways as well, women who are over 50 and 60 and 70 who are still rocking it and showing us that over 50 is not over the hill.
Oh
Anything
yeah,
like that where people are different and don't fit into a category as a
absolutely.
label as they do, as we're all supposed to be. Well, she's 40, so this is what happens
Not
at
one
40.
size fits all. We don't
No,
believe in being in one size fits all.
definitely.
We cannot. We stay away.
Yes. Different women who do different things and
Yes.
don't just accept this is how it's got to be. So women like that all over the world there are who are
Absolutely.
unsung heroes, will be famous women as well, but so many different women, so
I
many.
think every feisty, fearless woman is a superstar, is a queen in her
Oh
own way.
yeah.
I feel that. I mean, I think we should treat ourselves like one, shouldn't we? What do
Yeah.
you say to that? Because the way you think about yourself, I mean, why do you have to underestimate yourself? And I'm sure you have a powerful message for the women, who are listening. A powerful message, a witty, gritty message that, they shouldn't really underestimate themselves because they have a lot of power within. But I would like you to add to that on
So
a
many
parting
things.
shot.
Well,
Because I know you have a
there's
meeting coming up and I don't want to stop you because I know it's important. I would have gone on talking with you.
I would rather be sat here. I have to be honest. I'd rather be sat here doing this than going to this meeting that I have to go to. So there you go. So we maybe need to redo this again. But
Oh,
there's so
yes.
many things I could say, definitely so many things. But one of the things I would say is in life, there will be adversities. It doesn't matter who you are, what colour you are, what age you are, and what background. You can be rich, poor, famous, street walk, whatever. You will always face adversity. The key thing is to stand up and keep standing up. So when you were a child, you stood up every time you fell down. Otherwise, you would never have learned to walk. Keep doing that as an adult. Stand up, stand up, stand up, and you will get there eventually with the right help and support and never give up, ever.
Never,
That was
ever
quite a
give
long,
up.
short message.
No, it was wonderful. Tenacity. We're talking about tenacity. And, that reminds me, we have uh, a show, a program coming up rather, which is all about tenacity. And I would really like you to be there. And I will be sharing details, but this is for everyone who's joining us. We have a tenacity program. What exactly is it all about? Well, you need to stay tuned to Chilparco International shows. And we have 21 running and 300 plus. This is the most iconic show because the Wit and the Grit show was the first one that we started with Dr. Annette. And I really wanted you to be here because I know you're so witty and you're so gritty. But,
Oh,
it
it's
was,
been my huge pleasure and joy to be here. It really has. And to all the adversity of the technical stuff, we still managed to do it.
yes,
Still
we
managed to do it.
did. Yay! Two strong, feisty women never, ever give up because remember, you're unique, you're unstoppable, you're tenacious, you're timeless, and nothing can come in the way of your dreams that are magical, inspiring, and something that you are going to take those long strides towards, like Dr. Anna did. So don't forget what she said, and do drop in the comments below what was the one thing that you really are going to keep for yourself as a takeaway. And don't forget to mention your country because we'll really look forward to connecting with you some more. Until next time, Dr. Annette, we're going to have more and more of you. This is not enough. Like you said, this is not enough because we need to
No.
talk more. And I had so many things are coming in my mind that I wanted to talk to you about. But yes, let's keep that for show number 2. Maybe we could have that in another show. But yes, you're coming back and it was so wonderful having you. And I don't want to stop you and I don't want you to get late for your meeting. So I'll have to say bye-bye to you and bye
Okay.
to everyone here. Stay happy, stay blessed, keep rocking, keep rolling. Hasta mañana till we meet again. We are in a beautiful planet Earth. Let's make the most of care, connection, communication, and let's create something magical, something beautiful, something sustainable. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And Dr. Annette, thank you so much to
Namaste.
you. Namaste. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Lots of love to your husband too, please. I hope he
And
gets well
lots of love
soon.
to your family.
Thank you. And your family as well. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.